Get ready. You won't believe your eyes. Hollywood has officially lost its mind. The most surreal, most cynical farce of the decade is unfolding right before your eyes. We are revealing the absolute truth about how prestigious awards are now being handed out for failure, for a scandal, and for the destruction of an iconic classic. Glamour magazine, yes, that very fashionable, respectable one, has just rolled out its list of Women of the Year. And right next to living legends like the brilliant Demi Moore, on that list is her, Rachel Zegler, the Snow White, who managed to sink a $370 million Disney blockbuster before it was even released. The one who turned tens of millions of people worldwide against her. The one who publicly begged for forgiveness for her arrogance and conceit. This is not a joke. This is not a punchline. This is the desperate agony of the media elite, trying to save their progressive idol, their failed angel. And we're going to show you how they weave this web of lies and absurdity. This only happens in the very heart of Hollywood, and this is just the beginning. Buckle up, it's only going to get uglier. What is the Woman of the Year award from a publication calling itself Glamour supposed to be? According to their own words, it's given for shaping culture and breaking barriers. Remember those words, shaping culture and breaking barriers. And you know what? They were almost not lying. Rachel Zegler truly broke a barrier. She shattered a $370 million budget barrier. She turned Snow White into one of the most expensive, most notorious, most epic catastrophes in cinematic history. You've got to hand it to her. $370 million up in smoke into nothing. And for this, an award. And she certainly shaped culture. A culture of fiery, absolute dislike for her, coming from the very audience that was supposed to bring her billions. This is a phenomenon. This is a story that should be taught in PR schools, but as an example of what not to do. But how did she get here? How did this young, seemingly bright starlet who got the dream role coveted by millions of actresses across the globe turn into a reputational wrecking ball? We are about to break down every step of her path to success. You will see that this was no accident. It was a choice, a conscious choice. So forget about toxic fans. Forget about haters. The scandal didn't start with them. It started with her. Upon receiving the role of the Queen of Cartoons, Rachel Zegler did nothing better than to declare war on the original 1937 animated film. It's a classic. It's a legacy that several generations grew up on. But what did the Woman of the Year do? With genuine, chilling arrogance, she declared in every interview, "I haven't really watched the classic. The original story is outdated. The prince is weird and kind of a stalker who literally pursues Snow White. A stalker! Do you hear that? That's what she called the hero of a children's fairy tale. And of course, her new progressive heroine won't be dreaming of some love. No, she wants to be a leader, a lady boss. She's building a career. And love, ugh! This flood of insults directed at a fairy tale that millions love immediately caused rejection, predictable, expected. But this, my friends, was just the warm-up. This was the lifestyle of a young, conceited star. And now we come to the next bombshell hook. Do you remember that shameful video from the premiere? Where Rachel Zegler, with mocking pride, explained how she got the role in the Hunger Games. Listen to these outrageous words. I quote, "I read the script and I was like, oh, I deserve this. Sorry if that's mean, but I deserve this. I worked out hard. I deserve this." With those eyes rolled back, this is the purest, most concentrated narcissism. This is a conviction in her own chosenness and righteousness. This became her calling card long before audiences saw her as Snow White. And it alienated people. It alienated not just fairy tale fans, but ordinary viewers who don't like such arrogance. But insulting the fans, it turns out, was only step one. Next, the Woman of the Year decided to play some big, dangerous politics. And here, the issue was no longer box office returns, but human safety. When the failure of Snow White was already looming on the horizon, when the first trailer was met with a firestorm of criticism, what did Rachel Zegler do? She published a loud post on social media about Free Palestine, and that's when Hollywood exploded. According to insiders, Disney executives were in an unspeakable rage. But the worst thing was that it created an unbearable, extremely dangerous situation for her co-star, the Israeli actress Gal Gadot. The New York Post sounded the alarm. Gal Gadot and her young children faced a wave of threats, and the studio had to shell out for additional security. Do you understand the scale of the tragedy? Rachel Zegler's words put her colleague's family in real danger. And what did the Woman of the Year do? She refused to delete the post. Refused! This political gesture led to both supporters and opponents of each side calling for a boycott of the yet-to-be-released Snow White. The actress managed to unite opposing camps in dislike for her and her project. But that wasn't enough for her. After Donald Trump's re-election, our Woman of the Year wrote another outrageous tweet. I quote, "Trump supporters, Trump voters, and Trump himself never know peace," and all that stuff. Can you imagine? Addressing millions of voters full of contempt and anger. Of course, this caused a gigantic wave of outrage. She brought the fury of millions down upon herself, and even with all her arrogance, she had to publicly apologize, had to take her words back. She broke under the pressure of the audience. In short, the bottom line is box office catastrophe of epic proportions, the reputation of a walking PR problem, an accusation of narcissism from the son of the Snow White producer himself, the unofficial status of an unhirable actress. Studios fear her. They are afraid to associate with a person who is guaranteed to scare away 95% of the audience, both conservatives and liberals, everyone. It would seem her career is over. The end. Curtain. But no. Hollywood's PR machine and its sympathetic media simply cannot allow such a dishonorable end for an icon of new ethics. This would mean the viewers were right, and no one in the media elite can allow that. And so, they switched to emergency resuscitation mode. The media pumping campaign to create a new parallel reality begins. They will convince us that she is successful. First, rumors, allegedly about her future participation in Marvel. Allegedly, Hunger Games screenwriter Michael Leslie, who is writing the X-Men reboot, wants a role specifically for his favorite. Pure speculation, but presented as an almost done deal. Second, the apogee of the rescue campaign, a sensation. Rachel Zegler will play the legendary Gloria Estefan in the upcoming biopic. The headlines cast, triumphant return. But guess what the reality is? Gloria Estefan herself admits that they are still working on getting the green light. Green light. The project has no studio approval, no funding, no official announcement, nothing. It's all fake. Smoke and mirrors. And of course, the news of the lead role in the remake of the legendary The Sound of Music. More hype, more froth, but not a single real role. All we see is a desperate PR tactic that Hollywood calls casting for funding. It's an attempt to generate buzz, test the market, and most importantly, set the narrative before the career train completely derails. Someone in Hollywood and the authoritative media is so mournful over their failed progressive star that they are trying to force fashion her a new career out of thin air through media suggestion, and that's where glamour comes in, the Woman of the Year award. This is not a mistake. This is not a coincidence. This is the culmination of this PR campaign. It's the icing on the cake of absurdity. Since the fake roles didn't help, Zegler's advocates decided to simply appoint her. Appoint her Woman of the Year. Appoint her an icon. Here it is, the award for failure. The actress who insulted fans, cost a studio hundreds of millions, and endangered a colleague's safety is now officially honored as a woman icon. Do you think her political games and insults to viewers are all there is? No. To complete the full portrait of this Woman of the Year, we'll tell you about a telltale incident, betrayal in the theater. Rachel Zegler fled Hollywood to star in the musical Evita in London, and then, late in the summer, she suddenly left the stage right in the middle of the show. Her place was immediately taken by an understudy named Bella Brown. And guess what? Bella Brown created an absolute sensation. She received a 5-minute standing ovation and 10 curtain calls. She saved the show. She saved the production's reputation. And what did the Woman of the Year do? Rachel Zegler wrote a gratitude post on social media. She listed all her colleagues by name, but purely by chance, she forgot to mention the very understudy, Bella Brown, who saved the entire performance. And this is despite the fact that Bella Brown herself enthusiastically called Zegler her angel. The angel, in return, forgot her savior. This is telltale. Next time Rachel talks about advocating for women's rights, know this. Apparently, only if that woman isn't her own understudy. This is demonstrative narcissism. The story of narcissism and the betrayal of the understudy is just the tip of the iceberg. Let's remember the actors' strike in 2023. Rachel Zegler, an actress who received a $3 million fee for Snow White, $3 million US dollars. And what was she doing on the picket lines? She was complaining about a hard life. She was trying to steal attention from less fortunate colleagues for whom the strike was actually all about. She, a millionaire, was trying to look like a victim of the system. She took up airtime and sympathy from those who truly needed the support. This is incredible hypocrisy. She ostentatiously advocated for actors' rights while having huge sums in her accounts, while other actors were truly fighting for basic living conditions. But top publications somehow don't notice such minor details. They need to celebrate an icon. They need to inflate a triumphant return. And here's another shocking fact. When the recording of her solo song from Evita suddenly topped the vinyl charts in the UK, the entire press immediately exploded with headlines about her conquering the musical Olympus, and Zegler herself, according to the Daily Mail, didn't miss the chance to declare that this was a response to all her haters. I quote, "They wanted to erase her but were left with nothing because she is thriving despite them. Thriving despite those who criticized her for arrogance, despite those who didn't want to see the film she defiled." Now, after the Glamour Award, her ridiculous statement is only confirmed in her eyes and the eyes of her patrons. So, what do we have in the end? We have a strangely unusual role model, an icon forged from scandals and failures. And this, my friends, says a lot. It speaks to the complete, blatant departure from reality of Glamour magazine itself, and of this entire desperate, lost media crowd. They will, to the last breath, try to pull up their enlightened young icon of new ethics. The opinions of viewers don't matter to them. The hundreds of millions destroyed by her efforts don't matter to them. Human descent doesn't matter to them. They live in their mirrored world where failure is success, where narcissism is self-confidence, where betrayal is accidental forgetfulness, and the Woman of the Year award is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of a new game, a game where reality is turned upside down. Let's look at this phenomenon from the perspective of corporations. Why do studios tremble at the sound of her name? We already said it, $370 million. But it's not just money, it's risk. In Hollywood, there's an unwritten rule: don't get involved with a problem, and Rachel Zegler is a walking, talking problem. Her social media is a minefield. Her interviews are a self-destructing bomb. A studio cannot afford to hire an actress who is guaranteed to provoke disgust from half the country with her political statements, or from the other half with her arrogance. She is poison for box office returns. And here is the most cynical part. By celebrating her, Glamour and the media elite are effectively confirming her righteousness. They are saying, yes, you can trash classics, you can insult the audience, you can endanger colleagues, and we will reward you for it. This is permission for impunity. This is the endorsement of narcissism. Let's return to the fake roles. Marvel, Gloria Estefan, The Sound of Music. Why all this? It's a battle for the narrative. It's PR terrorism. They are trying to drown out the sound of the box office failure of Snow White. They want search engines to show Marvel and Gloria Estefan next to Rachel Zegler's name, not scandal and failure. Their goal is to force studios to believe in her star status, to generate so much noise that some project will finally give the green light. It's a desperate attempt, a last chance. And Glamour is their heavy artillery. They are appointing her successful. But who really is behind this grand salvation? Who is funding this enormous PR machine? Who is pressuring the Glamour editorial board? This isn't just the media elite. These are the secret springs of Hollywood. These are people who have staked everything on new ethics, on progressive ideals. For them, Zegler's failure is an ideological defeat. It's an admission that the viewer still decides, and they cannot allow that. They won't allow viewers to say, we don't want to see your film if you insult what we hold dear. They want to reverse this situation. They want people to watch the film under duress. Their task: to create an icon who survived the fiercest assault. Rachel Zegler must become a martyr who was destroyed by haters but was saved by the right elite. And the Woman of the Year award is the crown of martyrdom. It's a signal to everyone. We don't recognize your rules, we appoint the heroes ourselves. Let's return again to her cruelty towards the classic. Rachel Zegler didn't just not watch the 1937 film, she beheaded it. She destroyed the naivete and charm of the story. When she called the prince a stalker, she denied the right to exist to a billion romantic comedies and fairy tales. She crossed out an era. And this is not breaking barriers as glamour claims, this is pulling down monuments. This is an act of vandalism against cinematic heritage. And her new lady boss, heroine, it's just boring. Who needs a Snow White who is building a career? We go to the movies for a fairy tale, for magic, not for negotiations and career advancement. And the viewer voted with their wallet, or more accurately, did not vote. $370 million is not just a budget, it's hopes, it's jobs, it's huge money that went to waste. And the Woman of the Year is the person who bears responsibility for this. Let's look at the political aspect. Can you imagine the power of this actress? She managed to divide the nation even more strongly than the loudest politicians. Her tweets against Donald Trump and his supporters are a direct declaration of war on half of America. She single-handedly cut off the conservative audience. And her post about Palestine, it cut off the other half and caused real danger to Gal Gadot. Gadot is a global star. Rachel Zegler is a newcomer who refused to delete the post, even when her colleague's family was threatened. This is incredible egoism. This is absolute contempt for those around her. She is a magnet for conflict. She is a symbol of polarization, and she is given an award for this. This is the purest hypocrisy. Glamour is celebrating a person who is fracturing society. We must return again and again to the root of all evil, to narcissism. Oh, I deserve this. I worked so hard. This is incredible self-absorption. This is the belief that your success is exclusively your merit and no one else matters. No one. The son of the Snow White producer was right to accuse her of narcissism. He saw it from the inside. He saw how she behaves, how she talks, and this same narcissism showed up during the strike. She, a millionaire, complained about a hard life. This is a slap in the face to the thousands of actors who were truly starving during the strike, but she needed attention. She needed the spotlight. Rachel Zegler uses social issues as a tool for self-promotion. This is absolute cynicism. She is not fighting for ideals. She is fighting for her own fame. Let's go back to the summer story in London, the betrayal of the understudy. Rachel Zegler accidentally forgot to mention Bella Brown. But Brown didn't just replace her, she saved the performance. She received roaring ovations, ovations that would have otherwise gone to Zegler. This was not a coincidence, it was deliberate humiliation. Rachel Zegler could not admit that someone else could be better than her, that someone else could get more applause. Her narcissistic ego did not allow her to thank the one who helped her out. This is astonishing petty malice. And this small but telltale incident speaks more about her character than $370 million of failure. That is who the Woman of the Year is: an egoist, a liar, a narcissist, and a person who destroys everything she touches. Remember her words, "I am thriving despite them." Despite who? The viewers who don't want to see her film? The haters who criticize her for her rotten character? She is not thriving, her career is in ruins, her reputation is tarnished, and the awards and fake roles are the last spasms of the PR machine. This is a bubble of media suggestion, and this bubble will pop sooner or later, and when it pops, Rachel Zegler will be alone, without glamour, without fake roles, just her narcissism, and $370 million in losses. That is why we must shout about it. We must destroy this lie. The icon of new ethics is a fake. It is a product of cynicism and despair. Let's look at this list of Women of the Year. Next to Rachel Zegler is a cinematic legend, Demi Moore. Demi Moore, she created culture. She was a star. She shone on screen. And Rachel Zegler, she destroyed culture. She destroyed a movie. How can they be put next to each other? This is an insult to Demi Moore. It is a diminishing of her achievements. It is a world turned upside down where failure equals triumph. Glamour is telling us to hell with your talent, to hell with your work. The most important thing is the right words on social media and the right stance. This is the new criterion for success. This is horror. We have reached the end of this grand investigation and our diagnosis for Hollywood: absurdity and agony. Rachel Zegler is not the Woman of the Year. She is a symbol of tastelessness. She's a symbol of collapse. She's a symbol of arrogance. And her award is the self-exposure of the media elite that disdains its audience. They can appoint her anything. They can give her any awards, but they cannot force us to believe this lie. They cannot force us to love her. $370 million is the price of this failure, and Rachel Zegler is the face of this catastrophe. Let's state it clearly. Rachel Zegler is on the unofficial Hollywood ban. This is a signal to all studios, don't get involved. Her narcissism, her political imprudence, her contempt for the audience, all of this has made her a toxic asset, and all these fake roles are a desperate cry, a desperate attempt to clean up her reputation. But Hollywood remembers the losses. Hollywood remembers the scandals. The award from Glamour is the final nail in the coffin of her real career, because it confirms her righteousness in the eyes of the elite and closes the doors in front of her to those who count the money. But there is a huge lesson in all this, a lesson for all viewers. We are the power. $370 million is our answer, our no. We won't allow our classics to be insulted. We won't allow arrogant idols to be forced upon us, and let Glamour call her the Woman of the Year. For us, she will remain the girl who cost the studio hundreds of millions and who destroyed everything. Our choice is our voice, and we will not be silent. The scandals will continue, and we will expose them. What awaits Rachel Zegler next? A fiery end or a false triumph? She will continue to play this deadly game with the PR machine. She will continue to put out fake news. She will try to prove that failure is success, but we know the truth, and we will remind them of it every time. About the $370 million, about the insult to the audience, about the betrayal of colleagues. Woman of the Year. What cynicism, what absurdity, what a scandal.